You ever notice how some people stay stuck in the same place for years and they swear it's bad luck, wrong timing, or life just didn't work out? But here's the part nobody tells you. Every excuse you've ever used didn't just slow you down, it quietly rewired your entire life. And if you're watching this right now, it means something inside you already knows you've been holding back. So listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will either wake you up or disturb you. And maybe that's exactly why you clicked, because a part of you is tired of lying to yourself. Let's find out which part wins. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Every excuse you've made has already shaped the life you're living right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Your current reality is the sum of the moments you avoided discomfort, avoided effort, avoided risk. And that's the part that hurts the most, because deep down, you know it. You know there were days you could have pushed harder, but you didn't. You know there were opportunities you could have chased, but you talked yourself out of them. The fear isn't that you failed. The fear is that you stayed the same. But before your mind tries to justify all those decisions with a list of reasons, stop for a moment. Because what you're about to hear next is going to challenge every excuse you've ever believed. Excuses feel safe because they protect your ego. They give you a way out, a way to avoid admitting that you're capable of more than the effort you're putting in. Your mind loves excuses because they let you stay exactly where you are without feeling the pain of responsibility. It's easier to say, I'm tired, I'm busy, or I'm not ready yet, than to face the truth that you're choosing comfort over growth. But here's the part that keeps people stuck for years. Excuses aren't loud. They don't show up like alarms. They slip into your life quietly, disguised as logic, disguised as self-care, disguised as realism. They sound reasonable. They feel harmless. And that's why they're dangerous. Because while you're convincing yourself that your excuse makes sense, the life you want is slowly slipping further out of reach. And if you're feeling a little uncomfortable right now, good. That means you're waking up to something most people avoid their entire lives. Because what comes next is the moment where excuses stop controlling you and you start taking back your power. Excuses don't destroy your life in one big moment. They ruin it slowly, quietly, invisibly. They take away your potential one day at a time. Every time you say, I'll do it tomorrow, you train your mind to believe that your goals aren't urgent and your dreams aren't serious. You don't feel the damage immediately, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. You think you're safe until you look back and realize an entire year disappeared and nothing changed. Excuses eat away at your confidence piece by piece. Every skipped commitment, every broken promise to yourself, every moment you let fear win, it all builds a version of you that doubts yourself a little more each day. And the worst part? You don't notice this happening. You just wake up one morning wondering why you don't believe in yourself anymore. But here's the real punch. Excuses don't just steal your time, they steal your identity. They turn you into someone who settles, someone who hesitates, someone who survives instead of grows. And once you see how much they've taken from you, you'll understand why the next part is the exact moment everything finally shifts. There's always one moment, one tiny, almost invisible moment where everything shifts. It's the second you finally get tired of your own excuses. Not tired of the world, not tired of the circumstances, but tired of yourself. That's the moment people talk about when they say something clicked. It's not dramatic, it's not loud. It's a quiet realization that the person you've been is no longer someone you're willing to be. And that moment hits differently. It's the second you stop negotiating with your laziness, the instant you stop believing the lies you've been telling yourself, the moment you look in the mirror and admit, I could have done more. And instead of feeling ashamed, you start feeling powerful, because honesty is the first step toward transformation. This is the spark, the shift, the internal punch that pulls you out of the cycle you've been living in. And once it happens, once that clarity snaps into place, you'll feel something you haven't felt in a long time: control. And that's when the real transformation begins in the next stage. This is where everything changes, not because your life suddenly gets easier, but because you get stronger. The no excuse mindset isn't about force or discipline alone. It's about identity. It's about shifting from I hope I can to I don't negotiate with myself. When you make that shift, excuses don't disappear. They just lose their voice. You stop listening to them because they no longer fit the person you've decided to become. And here's the part most people never reach. You start acting before you feel ready. You start doing the thing even when your mind whispers all the reasons you shouldn't. You start seeing excuses for what they really are: mental traps designed to keep you average. And the moment you reject them, even once, you create a new version of yourself, a version that follows through, that respects its own word, that doesn't crumble at the first sign of discomfort. This identity shift is powerful because it's not about motivation, it's about who you believe yourself to be. When you decide you're the type of person who shows up no matter what, your life begins to align with that belief. You move differently, you think differently. You stop asking, can I do this? And start declaring, this is who I am now. And in that moment, excuses lose their grip on your future. Every single day, you're going to face a version of yourself that wants the easy way out, a version that wants 5 more minutes in bed, that wants comfort over progress, that wants distraction instead of discipline. And that daily battle is exactly where most people lose. Not because they're weak, but because they underestimate how relentless excuses really are. They don't come once, they come every morning, every night, every moment you're supposed to rise. But here's the truth you need to lock into your mind. Winning this battle isn't about overpowering excuses, it's about outsmarting them. It's about recognizing the moment they show up and refusing to let them lead. It's about doing the thing anyway, especially on the days you don't feel like it. That's where real growth happens. Not when you're motivated, not when everything is perfect, but when every part of you wants to quit and you still move forward. Because what most people never realize is that each time you beat an excuse, even once, you get stronger. You build proof. You build trust with yourself. Your standards rise, your self-respect grows, and suddenly, the things that used to break you don't even slow you down anymore. This is the battlefield where the no-excuse mindset is forged, and it's where the next level of your life begins. A no-excuse life is built long before success shows up. It begins in the tiny moments most people overlook, the moments where discipline whispers and comfort screams. Most people think they need more motivation, more clarity, more confidence. But the truth is, you don't need more of anything. You need fewer options. You need fewer escape routes. You need fewer chances to negotiate with your weaker impulses. Because when you remove the option to quit, you rise by default. You build this blueprint by creating systems that make discipline automatic. Think of it like this: if you rely on your mood, you lose. If you rely on how you feel, you lose. But if you rely on a system, a non-negotiable structure, you win even on your worst days. That's why high achievers don't waste time deciding whether to act. They've already decided. Their environment, routines, and habits carry them forward, even when motivation disappears. The second part of the blueprint is brutal honesty. You stop lying to yourself about why you don't follow through. You stop telling yourself stories that soften your failures. You stop pretending the excuse was real. When you become ruthlessly honest, you finally see the difference between a true barrier and a self-created limitation. And once you see that clearly, you never want to go back. And the final piece? You build momentum through consistency, not intensity. It's not about going all in for 3 days and collapsing on the 4th. It's about showing up every single day until discipline becomes your default identity. And once that happens, your excuses lose their power completely, because you're not just fighting them anymore, you're outgrowing them. Accountability is the point where the entire journey becomes real. It's the point where you stop telling yourself half-truths and start facing your life without any protective padding. Every excuse you've ever made, every shortcut you tried to take, every moment you chose comfort instead of commitment, they all come into focus. And for the first time, you see the undeniable connection between your choices and your reality. That's why accountability stings. It shines a light on everything you've been hiding from. But accountability is also liberating, because once you admit the truth, once you acknowledge that you've been holding yourself back, you take back the power to change it. You stop feeling like life is happening to you and finally understand it's been happening because of you. That shift is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also the most empowering moment of your entire transformation. It pulls you out of the victim mindset and forces you into the driver's seat. And here's what most people never realize. Accountability is the bridge between who you were and who you're trying to become. It's the moment where your excuses lose credibility. It's the moment where your reflection stops being a reminder of your failures and becomes a reminder of your potential. It's the moment you say, I created this life, and now I'm going to create the next one. And once you take that level of ownership, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop your rise. Every excuse you've ever made has a cost, and the cruel thing is, that cost is hidden. You don't see it the moment you say, I'll start tomorrow. You don't feel it when you skip the workout, avoid the opportunity, delay the goal, or let fear take the wheel. But excuses don't disappear. They accumulate. They stack up quietly, day after day, until one morning you wake up and realize you're living a life that feels too small. A life shaped not by your potential, but by your hesitation. Think about it. There are skills you never learned because you convinced yourself you weren't ready. There are opportunities you never grabbed because you hesitated for just a little too long. There are dreams you slowly buried because excuses made quitting feel reasonable. And the heartbreaking part? Those things didn't slip away because you weren't capable. They slipped away because you kept telling yourself a lie that felt comfortable in the moment. Excuses don't just steal your progress, they steal the future version of you. The confident one, the disciplined one, the one who follows through, the one who doesn't break promises to themselves. That version of you was never impossible. It just never got the chance to exist. And that realization should shake you, because it means the life you want isn't being blocked by circumstances. It's being blocked by moments of hesitation disguised as logic. But here's the part that matters most. The future isn't gone. It's not lost. It's waiting. Your potential doesn't die. It gets delayed. And the longer you delay it, the harder it becomes to face the truth that you could have been so much more. That fear, the fear of looking back one day and realizing you never even came close to your potential, that should ignite something inside you. Because once you see how much excuses have stolen, you finally understand why it's time to stop letting them control what comes next. But here's the part people forget. Just as excuses can destroy your future, discipline can rebuild it faster than you think. The moment you decide you're done negotiating with your weaker self, the entire direction of your life shifts. You start showing up differently. You start carrying yourself like someone who knows they're responsible for what happens next. And slowly, almost silently, you begin creating a future that looks nothing like your past. Imagine living as the version of you that doesn't hesitate anymore. The version who doesn't wait to feel ready. The version who moves with intention instead of fear. That version of you exists, not in some distant fantasy, but in the next decision you make. Your future becomes unstoppable the moment you start acting like the person you want to become, instead of the person you've been pretending you are. And here's the beautiful part. Progress has momentum. The moment you show yourself you can do something hard, everything else becomes easier. The moment you follow through once, your confidence multiplies. The moment you see even a small result, you realize you're not stuck, you are just getting in your own way. And once you feel that power, once you get a taste of who you could be, you'll never want to go back to the version of you that settled for excuses. This is the future you can still build, a future driven by discipline, powered by consistency, and protected by a mindset that refuses to break. And the only thing standing between you and that future is the choice you make next. If you're still here, it means one thing. You're done living small. You're done letting excuses write your story. And now you're standing at the line where most people stop, but you're not most people. So here's your moment. Take the energy you feel right now and turn it into action. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Start the thing you've been avoiding. Do the work you've been postponing. Build the discipline you've been craving. And if you want more videos that push you, challenge you, and remind you of who you're capable of becoming, then subscribe and stay locked in. Because this journey doesn't end here, it starts here. The next chapter of your life begins the moment you decide to step into it. No excuses, no hesitation. Let's rise.